Manan. Today we're gonna talk about poetry and literature. Uh, we're gonna talk about a poem by Anne Bradstreet that's called "To My Dear and Loving Husband." Before we start, let's discuss or get ourselves familiarized with the background of Anne Bradstreet. Anne Bradstreet lived in the 17th century. She was originally living in England. She belonged to a religious group called Puritanism or Puritans. Puritans were known for their strong religious beliefs, and they were very conservative and traditional. The Puritans wanted to purify the English church from any influence from Catholicism. Uh, Upon failing to do so, they were frustrated and uh, they decided to immigrate to the New World, which was which is what's gonna be known as the United States of America. They settled in what's known today as Massachusetts, and they tried to disperse their faith in this new land. So, uh, as for the personal poetry of Bradstreet, Bradstreet focused primarily on the realities of her life, her husband, her eight children, and her house. Before we start, let's revise some figure of speeches. First, we have a metaphor. A metaphor is a figure of speech that directly compares two unlike things without using like or as. For example, our house is our nest. We will find metaphors, or we will try to look for metaphors and other figure of speeches when we read the poem. So a metaphor is a figure of speech that directly compares two unlike things without using like or as. An extended metaphor is one that draws the comparison out and compares the two things at length and in many ways. It's basically a metaphor, but it's an extended version. For example, our house is our nest. We fly away only to return to its snug protection. Personification is a figure of speech in which an object, animal, or idea is given human characteristics. For example, if we say our house wraps our family in a warm embrace, or maybe our house listens to what we say. So we are treating our house as if it's a human and it can listen. Hyperbole is a figure of speech in which the truth is exaggerated for emphasis. Our house means more to us than all the money in the world. This is clearly exaggeration. One of the main characteristics of the Puritan era literature was biblical allusions. Like I said, they were very religious, and religion held an insignificant or a significant part of their daily life. So it's very common to see biblical references in their literature. Another main important characteristic of the Puritan era, of the literature in the Puritan era, is that they use simple syntactic structure or simple writing style. When we read, we will look for archaic languages. Archaic language is words that were once in common use, but that are now considered old-fashioned. For example, the word thy and thee, or doth for does. Also, uh, ancient usages of syntax may be inverted. So we can find inverted syntax. For example, if we take a look at this example, when rest I took, it means when I took rest. This is inverted syntax. Let's now turn into the poem. The poem consists of 12 lines, and it begins by a description of the compatibility of the author's love or the author's relationship with her husband. She then moves on to saying or describing how much her husband's love equals or outweighs the whole riches of the East or the whole riches on earth. She concludes with a call or an urge. She's urging her husband that they stay loyal and true lovers so that after death they can live again eternally in the afterlife. So let's begin. The first line here we can find in this Word document, here we can find highlighted in orange the poem lines, and here highlighted in green we can see a paraphrased version of the lines. If ever two were one, then surely we. It means if two people ever became one through marriage, then we have definitely become one. She's talking, or she's bragging and exaggerating her holy bond, which means marriage. She is exaggerating the strong relation that because of their marriage they turned into one soul mate. They become one soul. Line 2. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. She's saying if a husband was ever loved by his wife, then surely you are loved. You are the most loved person ever in the whole universe. Again, she's using hyperbole. 3. If ever wife was happy in a man, and she stops. However, it's implied then she says, then I am. So in the paraphrase version we can find, if ever a wife was happy with her husband, then surely I am happy. In these lines, she's describing the compatibility, or that both of them are perfect fit for each other. Number 4, line 4. Compare with me, ye women, if you can. Ye is an archaic pronoun for you. So she's saying, compare with me, you women, if you can. She's calling on other women to compare their marriages against her if they can. She knows for sure that they will fail in this challenge because Anne Bradstreet marriages is the best in her own mind. She thinks that they are the best couple ever. Line 5 and 6, she turns into a description of how much she values her love and her husband's love, even more than the riches or the gold around the world. Line 5 begins with, I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold. And 6, or all the riches that the earth doth hold. Doth here, this word is does. This is an archaic version of does. She's basically saying, I value your love more than a gold mine or all the riches that can be found in the East. 7. My love is such that rivers cannot quench. The word quench is like when you're very thirsty and you say, only rivers can quench me. Quench means that satisfy your need or satisfy your thirst. She compares her love to that or to a thirst so strong that not not even rivers could satisfy it. Again, this is also hyperbole, clearly. Number 8, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Thee from it means this is an archaic pronoun for you. Nor aught but love from thee give recompense. She says, nothing but love from you can satisfy me. Only your love, but love me here, it means only your love, only love from you give recompense. Recompense is like repay or something back in return. Number 9, zoom. Thy love is such I can no way repay. Thy also is another archaic pronoun for your. She's saying, I cannot repay your love. Like I said, one of the main characteristics of the literature in the Puritan era is biblical references or religious or religion references. So in 10 she turns and she mentions the heavens and God. She says, the heavens reward thee manifold, I pray. She's praying that God will reward him repeatedly or several times. She saying, I hope that God will richly reward you for your love, or generously reward you for your love. The poem concludes with the theme of death. Puritan poets, they had strong beliefs and they had a belief that their life that they can live again eternally in the afterlife. So once they are dead, it's not over. They will return back to life, to live eternally in the afterlife. 11. Then while we live in love, let's so preserve. She's calling her husband or imploring on him or requesting from him that as long as they're still alive, that they should preserve their love, their true, they should always stay true lovers, so that when they live no more, when they pass away, we may live ever. It means that they can live eternally in the afterlife. Thank you, class.